Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to year 10 of the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Check the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're as excited for the return of the Carriker Chronicles show as I am, as I clearly am, then smash that like button. If you're excited for the start of a new Husker football season, then smash that like button. Do me a favor as well, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet and you'd like some more of our content, because there's going to be more than ever. I'll get into that later in this video. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the stuff that we do put out. All right, it's time to pull ourselves together, ladies and gentlemen, because Husker football season is almost upon us. And there's reason for legit optimism as well. Now, before I dive into the topic of this video, which is, will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype? Oh, I'm just going to let that sit there and just let people fester. Why is he talking about hype for Dylan? I'll get to it, okay? First and foremost, family and I moved back to Lincoln, and it's great. I want to give a shout out. This set behind me is phenomenal. I'm proud of it because my wife and my kids, and myself, but my wife and my kids did a ton of work on this set. And they soundproof I know you can't see the rest of the studio, they soundproof the entire studio. So I want to say thank you to my wife, my kids, because I'm pretty pumped about this particular studio. I think it looks pretty sweet. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments below. Maybe you think it looks like trash. Well, let me know. And then we're going to go blow for blow. No, we're not. But you can let me know anyways. All right. I also want to say thank you to a few other people. And then we're going to light this candle with the topic. I want to say thank you to everyone who's helped with the website as well, carrikerchronicles.com. If you've never been to the website or you haven't been in a while, go check it out. It looks completely different than it did just a few months ago. The website's not even a year old. At this time last year, we had 6 content contributors. It's exploded just over the past 3 or 4 months up to 28. We have what's soon to be 8 writers and 18 podcasts that are contributing to the website, carrikerchronicles.com. We've also got Fan of the Week, and we've got Where Are They Now sections, which I'm looking forward to taking to the next level this year. We did a couple of them last year, but I'm excited to see them go to the next level. In fact, the first 2 Husker legends that we're going to be highlighting in the Where Are They Now is Jared Crick and Andy Janovich, 2 of my favorites ever that I've had the chance to get to know just a smidge. And the Fan of the Week, if you want to nominate somebody, you can go to the website, go to highlights, go to Fan of the Week, and you can nominate yourself if you want. I don't care, that's cool. Or you can nominate somebody else, and who knows, you just might win Fan of the Week. I want to say thank you to everyone who's helped with this show. Been doing it a decade. It's flown by, okay? I guess when you love what you're doing, you don't work a day in your life. Now, I'll be honest with you, Nebraska wins some more games, I'll enjoy it even more, but we'll get into that in a minute. So thank you to everyone who's ever helped with the Carriker Chronicles over the past decade. And a special thank you. I'm not thanking you last because you're the least important. I'm thanking you because you're the main event. I want to thank the fans. Thank you for caring about this show. Thank you for caring about what someone has to say who took 6 years of speech therapy and was too scared to pick up the phone and order pizza as a kid. Thank you. I call this the People's Show for a reason. It's not just some marketing slogan or tagline. I don't have to do this show. I want to do this show, and a large part of it has to do with Husker Nation, the people you find folks at home. All right, by the way, I've got my thousands of pages of endless notes. I'm back. All right, the question at hand. Will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype? Here we go. Heisman Trophy, 12-0. Okay, we got to win the Big Ten Championship, 13-0. Got that first round bye. Then we got to win 3 playoff games, 16-0. Like what an undefeated NFL team used to be. Now they play 17 games. All right, that's what we're talking about, right? No, that's asinine. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, yes, by the time Dylan is done, he has all the potential in the world to be all conference, maybe all American, a high draft pick, potentially one day. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype as a starting quarterback here at Nebraska this year as a true freshman 19-year-old. That's what I'm talking about. That's what this video is about. And frankly, that's all I care about right now. So in order to put into perspective what the hype for Dylan Raiola is in my mind for this season, I have to give a prediction for what I think Nebraska's final record will be, because otherwise how can I project what Dylan needs to do to help us get to a certain amount of wins or whatever the case may be. Now I haven't done a Chronicles all summer, mostly because we were moving, but other places, I've done a ton of interviews, a ton of shows. I've talked about my record prediction last spring. It has not changed. That's why I'm not doing a record prediction show just for the sake of doing a show, because it has not changed. So I'm going to go through this quickly because I talked about it in the spring. I've talked about it all over the place, other various areas. okay, throughout the summer. But for those who don't know, I'm going to go through it quick. Here we go. I have Nebraska winning their first 4 games. There you go. 4-0 right out the bat. Boom, Adam's going to predict them to go 7-0 and 8-0 and 9. Just chill. Okay. All home games. And 3 of these games are incredibly winnable. Colorado is the momentum game. That's the momentum game. It's not even a Big Ten game, but it's the momentum game. Plus, I'm sick of losing to them. It's time to get a little revenge. Hi, Coach Prime. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Game 5, Dylan Raiola's first road test as a starting quarterback here at Nebraska at Purdue. Projected to be the worst team in the Big Ten. That's what Purdue is. We'll see what they actually are. 5-0. Rutgers, this is a team, don't overlook them. Okay, they have a large percentage of their returning production coming back, just like Nebraska. There's one person on planet Earth who apparently knows how to win in Piscataway, New Jersey with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and that's Greg Schiano, and he's there and he's doing it again for the second time. This is also a team that doesn't play Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin. Like, how did they get those draws? I mean, are they ever glad the Big East, they were in the Big East, the Big Ten, the East Division is no longer. Okay, I project them to be a top 25 team at the end of the year, largely because of their schedule. Don't overlook them coming into Lincoln. I'll give a prediction as that game gets closer, an updated prediction. For now, I have Nebraska winning, but don't overlook them. All right, game number 7 after a bye week, Indiana in Bloomington on the road. I have Nebraska. They're going to be favored in all 7 of those games. I have them winning all 7 of those games, except there may be a freshman moment. There may be a ball that doesn't bounce our way. So we're going to lose a game at some point. I'm actually going to say 6-1. Now, I will say this. If we're not at least 5-2 after those first 7 games, we got problems. We do. But I'm going to predict 6-1. You look at Ohio State. I'm not going to sit here right now and predict us to beat Ohio State right now. Are you? Okay, so 6-2. Then we've got UCLA, brand new head coach. All right, they're starting all over in a lot of things out there in Palo Alto. They're coming into Lincoln. I have Nebraska winning that game. Then we have a bye week and we go out to USC. Who knows how that game could go? USC is going to score, but do they tackle anybody? Are they going to do any tackling drills? Do they play defense this year? I don't know. I think it's going to be a close, exciting game. Maybe the most exciting game of the year, possibly. Okay, Colorado's probably going to be up there as well. I'm going to have USC winning that game right here, right now, as I sit here in August. So that would put us 7-3. The last 2 games, Wisconsin and Iowa, I think we split them. I'd love to beat them both, especially Iowa on the road again, second time in 3 years. But I think we split them, end up 8-4. That's my prediction. Now, my prediction for Nebraska is 8-4. So how does Dylan Raiola help Nebraska get there? Last year, as we all know, we were 5-7. 4 games left. We just needed to win one of those games. It didn't happen. I know, sorry I brought it up, but it's all for perspective. Why didn't it happen? It didn't happen in large part due to turnovers and struggles at the quarterback position. So what do we need from our quarterback this year? We were so close a year ago. Translation, we don't need to put the weight of the world on Dylan Raiola's shoulders this year. We really don't. All we need is improvement on these stats. Turnovers, last year, we were tied for dead last in the country with 31 turnovers on the season. We were tied with Georgia Southern. Ugh. All right, we were second to last in turnover margin in the country at -17. Did you know Temple only forced 5 turnovers the entire season? 5 combined. Like, were you even trying? Like, what? Anyways, I digress. My point is, we basically just need Dylan Raiola to run the offense and take care of the ball. Yes, he's got rare arm talent. While he's got that ability, just think about this. Last year, we had a rushing offense that was second in the Big Ten Conference, and we averaged more yards per play, even with a 5-7 record, than our opponents did. And even with some of our offensive struggles, we only averaged a quarter, 1/4 of a point less than our opponents per game. We averaged 18 points per game. Our opponents averaged 18.25 points per game. We were that close. Now, when you think about the rest of the team, what Nebraska has, what they had last year and what they've got this year. Our defense last year was 13th in the country in scoring defense, 8th in rushing defense, giving up 92.9 yards per game rushing in the Big Ten Conference, under 100 yards. That's really freaking good. And 11th in total defense in America. So they're top 15, top 10 in these 3 major defensive categories in the country, and we return a majority of our starters, and Tony White is back. Now, this year, you look at the offense, we have an experienced offensive line, and we're in year 3 under offensive line coach Donovan Raiola. For years, I've used the word potential for Nebraska's offensive line. We have too much experience. It's year 3 under Donovan Raiola. They should and they need to play better, and I think it's fair to expect that at this point. You look at the skill positions. We have big athletic targets everywhere. Okay, Isaiah Nayor, the transfer in from Texas, 6'4", 220 pounds, a receiver. Jamal Banks, 6'4", 220 pounds as well. What a coincidence. The all ACC type receiver from Wake Forest. You look at tight ends. Thomas Fidone, 6'6". All right, Nate Borkshire, he's the midget of the group at 6'5". Now, don't forget about some of the speedsters we have as well. Jalen Lloyd, All right, Ja'Cory Barney, and there's others as well. I'm still excited to see what Malachi Coleman, the number one recruit in the state of Nebraska a couple of years ago, to see what he can do at some point as well. The running back room is talented. There's 4 legit talented running backs in the room. Now, I am curious to see, regardless of what the depth chart says, which running back or running backs take the bull by the horn as this season goes along. Hopefully it starts right out the gate, game 1 versus UTEP. Now, as I mentioned, we were just inches away last year. We're in year 2 under Matt Rhule. He's known and he's famous for his year 2 jumps, and he has said this feels like year 3. Those are his words. He said it feels like year 3 because the cupboard wasn't as bare here as the situation was up at Temple or Baylor, his previous 2 head coaching stops in college football. And again, the schedule is very manageable, especially by Big Ten standards. Here are some of my concerns. It's not all fresh pancakes in the morning and a valley full of daisies and butterflies everywhere. I don't just like to look at the part of the picture that we like. I like to look at the whole picture, all right? My concerns are 3 parts, three main concerns. Will they play in games how they practice? Matt Rhule has come out and talked about how they weren't the same team on Saturdays a year ago as they were the rest of the week. And this year, Matt Rhule has already closed certain practices at a certain point, I should say, in fall camp for a similar type of reason. Now, I think he was more nipping it in the bud and getting ahead of it. At least that's what I believe. That's what I've been told. And that was his approach in fall camp. But obviously there was a little bit already rearing its head in camp, all right? Just looking at the whole picture. Number 2, our kicking game, specifically field goal kicking. Now, we have talent in the field goal kicking room specifically, but it's definitely a question mark. Number 3, final concern, starting a true freshman at quarterback, starting a teenager at quarterback. Yeah, he's absurdly talented, but you never quite know what you're gonna get. Now, honestly, I'm excited to see what he can do. But let's talk about what we realistically need from Dylan Raiola a little bit more specifically. Before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, okay? Because they do a great job. They're great companies and the owners are phenomenal. DPS Concrete Construction, you can check them out at dpsconstruction.net. If you're looking to have work done along these lines in the Omaha metro area specifically, but Omaha, Lincoln, state of Nebraska, go to dpsconstruction.net. If this is the type of work that you do, Jason Armstrong, the owner, is legit a really good dude. And you're gonna have a hard time finding a better boss. All right, if you want a pool, a sauna, or a hot tub put in, I'm gonna recommend Bonzo Pool. Bonzo Pool is at bonzopool.com, and here's why. They're putting in my family's pool right now. They dug a gigantic hole in my backyard, and they're gonna eventually fill it with water. Here in about the next week, it'll be ready, I've been told. Kids are pretty excited. So's Dad, the biggest kid of them all. If you have a pool, hot tub, or sauna, and you need them taken care of, they're the folks for you. bonzopool.com. If you go to the store, ask for Jeff, tell him Adam sent you. bonzopool.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's what we need from Dylan Raiola. 4 things. Number 1, run the offense efficiently and move the chains. At the end of the day, if you keep moving the chains, the offense stays on the field and you keep getting closer to scoring. I was a quarterback growing up. Some of you know that. My dad was like, Adam, I had a pretty good arm. He goes, it doesn't matter how far you can throw it if the offense doesn't move at least 10 yards every 3 to 4 downs. Number 2, complete at least 60% of his passes. Now, the average starting FBS quarterback's completion percentage last year was 62.7%. To be considered a good FBS quarterback, you need to complete anywhere from 65 to 70% of your passes. If you're 70% or above, depending on how high you get, you are considered really good to potentially elite. We need Dylan Raiola to complete at least 60% of his passes. And by comparison, Nebraska's quarterback room combined last year completed 52% of their passes. And to be clear, I got nothing but love for the guys who played quarterback for the University of Nebraska last year. The facts don't care about feelings, mine or anybody else's. Okay. Number 4, have a touchdown to interception ratio of at least 1.5 touchdown passes to every 1 interception. To be considered a good quarterback, you really need to have a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 touchdown passes to every 1 interception you throw. Now, if you've got a 3-to-1 ratio, 4-to-1 ratio, that's when you get in the topic or the conversation of being good, really good, I should say, to elite, depending on how good your ratio is. Now, just by comparison, Nebraska's quarterback room last year combined through 10 total touchdown passes and 16 interceptions. So that's 1 touchdown to every 1.5 interceptions. Actually, it's worse than that because it's 16 to 10, not 15 to 10. Yeah, my math is correct. I was not a math major, but I think that's right. If we could flip that, 1.5 touchdown passes to every 1 interception as opposed to 1 touchdown to every over 1.5 interceptions. That'd be a huge deal. Next question, when it comes to Dylan Raiola and the hype. Will Dylan live up to the hype, the rest of the hype, before his time is done here in Nebraska in the next few years? My response to that, we can talk about that later, but I knew somebody was going to ask. All right, injuries. I hope that Dylan Raiola is the first Nebraska quarterback to start and play an entire season without injury, but that hasn't happened in quite a few years here. So I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the rest of the guys in that quarterback room. The backup quarterback, Heinrich Harburg. This is a dude, I said it when I watched him as a true freshman, got a big arm, faster than people realize. Then you watched him last year, he's faster than I realized, but 2 years ago, not even being in the quarterback room, not working as a quarterback at all, under a different staff, not his fault, hurt him. Mechanics faltered, his throwing faltered. He's a physical runner, he plays hard, love the way he plays, love the kid, he's faster than I realized. His throwing needed to improve. He is an improved thrower this off season. I can 100% say he is improved. How much? How good? It's hard to say without live game action, okay? But he is 100% improved, and he's still everything else that we knew he was from a season ago. And I'd love to see them use him as a Swiss Army knife. Put him all over the place, use him in different situations, and ultimately, you can run trick plays. Maybe do the old double pass like they did with Luke McCaffrey versus Iowa a few years ago that went for a touchdown. Something to that effect. Daniel Kalen, the next two guys, in no particular order, Daniel Kalen, Jalen Gromstad. Okay. Daniel Kalen is a guy that Matt Rhule has looked me in the eye in his office and said, he's an NFL quarterback one day. He's talked to other people, Matt Rhule, about how he has the it factor. Personally, he has everything it takes to be a really good quarterback. All right. And I just like him. It's a situation where he clearly is a Nebraska boy who wanted to play for the Huskers, what he's done for this program through peer recruiting, and he's still here and he's working hard, and I hear nothing but great things about him. I can't help but root for him. I just like him on a personal level. And then Jalen, this is a guy who transferred this past summer, NAIA Player of the Year, took his team to 2 straight national championship games and led them to a national title in 2022. Jalen Gromstad wants to be a coach, and I hope he doesn't see meaningful minutes this year because that would mean injuries, to be clear. But if he does, I'm kind of curious to see what he could do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tune in on Tuesday, August 27th, right here, 6 p.m. Central Time, to see my interview with the GOAT. And the GOAT thing is still funny to me because it used to be such a bad term when I was a kid. Now it's greatest of all time, as we all know, the GOAT. And that is an accurate description for my guest on Tuesday, the GOAT, Tom Osborne, will be joining me. Tune in to see my interview with him August 27th, 6 p.m. Central Time. Now, just a couple updates. I have joined TikTok. That's right, I've joined TikTok. If you're on TikTok, give me a follow. And I even resurrected my dead Instagram account. I didn't start the account. A marketing guy did for me that worked for me like over a decade ago, and I hadn't posted in 7 years. But about a month ago, I resurrected that thing from the dead. All right, if you're on Instagram, give me a follow. As always, you can follow me on X. Finally stopped calling it Twitter, but you can follow me on X and Facebook as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the family and I just moved back to Lincoln, and boy, is it good to be home. It really is. Now, if you're a sponsor, someone who's potentially interested in sponsoring the show, on our website, carrikerchronicles.com, our email subscription list, social media, wherever the case may be, you can go to the website, carrikerchronicles.com. You can go to the home section, click that, and then contact us, and you can send us a message. Now, I also want to get involved in the community, and I like trying to help people. I really do. My whole family does. So if you run a charity or a foundation, you can do the same thing. Go to the home section of carrikerchronicles.com, where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. And then contact us, and you can send us a message. I want to help make an impact in people's lives as much as we can. Also, if you run a youth sports organization, I've coached youth sports for 7 years. My wife, she's the best youth sports coach I've ever seen. I don't care if she's my wife. That's the flat out truth. Okay, maybe I'll go more into that one day. But we have 6 kids, all in multiple sports. We have a heart for youth sports. You can send us a message as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here are my questions for you fine folks at home. Let me know your answer below wherever you're watching this video. Okay, number 1, what will Nebraska's final record be? 6-6, 7-5, 8-4, 9-3. What do you think? Number 2, will Nebraska finish the season ranked? And here's why I bring that up. If you're a Big Ten team and you finish the year 8-4 in one of the 2 best conferences in America, 8-4, you have a realistic chance of finishing ranked. Will Nebraska finish the season ranked? And number 3, whole point of this video, will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype for this season? That's the focus. And that's what I'd love to hear your answers to. Will he do what it needs to be done to help the Huskers finish at least 7-5, if not 8-4? Will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype for this season? Let me know your answer in the comments below. And as I mentioned, we're going to be putting out more content than ever, doing more things than ever, more fun things, more new things. All right, check us out. And until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball. So I just realized that I didn't even give my answer to the title of this frickin' video, which is, will Dylan Raiola live up to the hype for this football season? I didn't even give my answer. My answer, pause for effect, yes. I personally believe that Dylan Raiola will live up to the hype for this football season.